はい、皆様、こんにちは。本日はオンラインセミナー、春大学で TESOL 英語教育法、英語教授法を学ぶにご参加くださりありがとうございます。SIUK 留学コンサルタントの広田と申します。本日はよろしくお願いいたします。本日は春大学の TESOL コースリーダーのダンカン・ハンター先生と、春大学担当官のカラムさん、日本人アンバサダーの邦子さんにお越しいただいております。まずは、担当官のカラムさんからのご挨拶、その後に TESOL コースに関してのプレゼンテーションをダンカン先生にしていただきます。その後で質疑応答のお時間を設けますので、TESOL コースのことや春大学のことについてご質問のある方は、チャットボックスよりご遠慮なくメッセージください。質問は英語でも日本語でもどちらでも結構です。Okay. Then over to you, Callum. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Firstly, good morning from the UK. Good afternoon to our audience in Japan. Firstly, thank you so much for joining today's webinar to discover more about our Masters in TESOL, Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages. So, like I say, thank you for joining us today. We're going to take you on a bit of a journey today in discovering our university, our location, and this fantastic course, our Department for Education. And joining me today is Dr. Duncan Hunter and one of our student ambassadors from Japan as well. So without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to Duncan to take you through the first part of our presentation today. Enjoy.
So hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me well. My name is Duncan Hunter. I'm the program director for the MA in TESOL, and I work in the School of Education. So that's probably enough as an intro. Shall we go to the... So the purpose of today's presentation is to touch on these points, talk firstly about Hull as the location of our university, also talk about the School of Education, and mostly talk about the MA TESOL itself and what we actually do on the program. After I talk, we'll be handing over to our student ambassador, who's not actually on this program, is a student at our university, who'll also be able to give her perspective on life in our university. Thank you. Next slide, please. So I'd like to start just by talking about Hull. Hull, the full name of our city is actually Kingston upon Hull, but most people just call it Hull. And it's here in the northeast of England. It's close to some famous cities, close to York, a very scenic and historic town, just an hour really by train or car. Also to some other big centres like Leeds or Manchester, and not too far actually from our capital, London, only 2.5 hours taking the Hull train. So it is well connected in terms of rail. There are also some fairly easily accessible airports. The closest is actually here in Humberside, our county name, just 20 minutes. There's also Leeds and Manchester with its pickup service. Okay, that's probably enough about that. Thank you. So the university itself is an older university. It's a traditional red brick university. It's the 14th oldest in England, founded in 1927. We have at the moment around 15,000 students, and about 2,000 of those are international students. So we have some accolades. We are a top 50 university for education, which includes TESOL, the field that we're talking about today. And we've been ranked as a global top 100 university for impact by the Times Higher Education. This means that we are well known for our ability to carry out research that improves our community as well as contributing to the academic field. Thank you. All right, to the next one. Here are some slides that just give you an idea about what our campus looks like. So this first one shows our library. As you can see, there are several floors behind this older building. One of the reasons that I like our library, apart from its size, is that it used to have a very famous librarian, Pip Larkin, who is a world famous poet, and he used to work at the library. So this is one of the reasons why the library is actually historically quite famous, as well as being a functioning place to study. Thank you. This is one of our older university buildings. It's now the business school, and it gives you, I hope it gives you an impression of some of the features that our university has. Some of the buildings are older. There are some very attractive places for students to meet and have lunch and hang out. And it's one of the things that actually makes the university a very pleasant environment for students to visit. Thank you. There's some newer places as well. So this slide shows some of the new accommodation that's just been built. So this gives the campus an interesting feel with some older buildings and also some newer facilities as well. Thank you. This is a graduation scene, and one of the reasons why this is an interesting photograph to look at is that it shows you the kind of variety, the range of students who take part at our university. If you look closely at this picture, you can see that there are people from all around the world, and it is a very diverse student body, something hopefully that you will be looking for. Thank you. So just very recently, I believe it was the year before last, perhaps, we were visited by Her Majesty the Queen. The Queen came to open a new building on campus, a medical building. So we had the pleasure of seeing the Queen. Here she is talking to our Vice Chancellor. So let's talk now about the particular program that the MA TESOL. I'm program director for this program. So we have a well-established team. I'm the team leader. There are a couple of other colleagues here. We may be joined by some further colleagues this year. So we've been teaching this for several years now, and we've developed a great deal of expertise and confidence in what makes the program interesting and enjoyable for our learners. Thank you. So I'm sure you know what TESOL is. It stands for Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages. And it includes all of these fields, subfields, if you like, of TESOL, like English as a foreign language, English for academic purposes, etc. So it's a general term that refers to all of these particular modes, if you like, of language, English language teaching. And we're interested in developing students or learner teachers from a variety of local and international contexts. We're hoping to get applications from those who are interested in language and language learning. We would like open-minded internationalist learners who enjoy working with students from other countries, and people who are excited about becoming teachers, who are aspiring educators. Thank you. So who are our students? They come from all around the world. Some are from here in the UK. So a sizable minority are from students from the UK, and many of those will be from here in our city of Hull or near our city. We also have a sizable group of Arabic speakers from Saudi Arabia and other Arab-speaking countries. Some of our students come from East and Southeast Asia, countries like China and Vietnam, but there will also be a few students from other places as well. So countries, Spain, Nigeria, Germany, we've had students from these locations in the past, and every year it will be slightly different with a different profile of learners. We have had some Japanese learners in the past, but not recently. But of course, we do invite you to join us. Thank you. I took this photograph a couple of years ago with the students' permission, of course, just to give an idea of a typical triad group of our learners, because I thought this scene showed a very typical group working together. So one student here from the UK, from Hull, actually, the young man near the camera. There's also a student from China and one from Saudi. So this is a fairly typical classroom or lecture room scene. Thank you. So one thing I would like to make very clear is why doing the TESOL at Hull would be special. How would it be different to doing the program at other universities? Now, one thing that makes us fairly special, possibly unique, but certainly very unusual, is that we offer the opportunity to have practical experience. So not only do we try to develop strong pedagogic skills and pedagogic theory around language learning, but we also try to develop some real practical experience so that you will actually feel confident about how to actually deliver a language lesson in a classroom, so that the program actually includes classroom teaching, an opportunity to teach some of our local students, and you'll be working with a team of other teacher learners. So that's one thing that we think makes our program very special. There are some other advantages, things that make us unusual as a program. One is that we offer a practical international teaching qualification. So some learners who join our program also opt to join our Trinity Cert TESOL. This is a professional qualification, a professional teaching qualification that students can train for at the same time that they're doing the MA TESOL. Now, I do have to say that entry onto this is not automatic. You do have to have a certain level of language proficiency, and there is a separate interview because it is a separate qualification. But every year, some of our students, at the same time that they do the MA TESOL, also train to do the Trinity Cert at the same time. It's quite demanding to do the two at the same time, but it does confer an advantage that you leave the university with two, not just one, but two useful qualifications. Something else I'd like to recommend about our program is that we have a very new syllabus. The syllabus has been continuously reformed, and very recently, the whole syllabus has been reviewed to make sure that we're looking at cutting edge issues. So we're teaching new, or certainly now they're new. Next year, there'll be almost new syllabus material. So we feel very confident that what we're delivering is content that our students find useful and enjoyable based on their feedback from previous years. One final thing, which I mentioned because it's coming up very soon, is that we have an annual conference with another university, the University of Leeds, and students travel either to Leeds or come here to Hull to have this conference with another university, which is focused on TESOL, and some students will deliver presentations about their dissertation work. Thank you. So here are some overall objectives or goals of our program. As I mentioned, what we try to do is to enhance practical skills for language teaching. So of course we need to teach theory, models, principles, but our goal is that by the time you finish the program, you should feel some confidence about how you would actually go about teaching a lesson in a classroom. So that's one of our goals. As a master's level program, a level 7 program, we also want to develop critical thinking, the right level of academic critical thinking that's appropriate to a master's course. We also seek to develop your skills as a researcher. So the MA TESOL is a research program in that the final activity, the final assignment, is a dissertation, a research dissertation that does involve you carrying out research. So right from the beginning, when you join the program, we'll be trying to develop your competence, your abilities as a researcher. Finally, importantly, we have an ethos that we try to include in our program. So we want a kind of atmosphere or feeling around our program, that it is fair for all of the students, that it is inclusive, that everybody can join in, nobody is excluded. And finally, that students are working together, enjoying their time together and having fun. Thank you. So let's talk about the program in a little bit more detail here. So this slide breaks down the program into its modules. So I'll just give a brief overview here, and then we'll look at some of these modules one by one. So as you can see, there are 3 trimesters. The first trimester, the autumn trimester, there's the second spring trimester, should we call it, and finally the summer trimester. As you can see, in the first trimester, there are 2 taught modules, contemporary issues in ELT and research methods. In the second trimester, again, another 2 taught modules, approaches and methods in ELT, advanced professional issues. And then finally, in the third summer trimester, you will have a supervisor and you will commence your dissertation research project. So if you like, the dissertation is the culmination, the final part of the program that we're developing you towards in many ways. The purpose of the program is to prepare you for this final piece of research. So we're going to look now at these modules briefly, but in a little bit more detail, one by one. Thank you. So let's have a look at contemporary issues. As I said, this is trimester 1, one of the first modules you will study. And this will introduce you to some of the important theory, the models that you need to be able to understand the field. So we're looking at background disciplines like education and applied linguistics. So our program does take place in a school of education. So we're very keen to connect to important theories about education in general, as well as looking at the field of applied linguistics that informs TESOL. There are 2 other things that we look at in this module: language awareness, that is your own understanding of the English language, things like grammar, phonology, the lexical system, to make sure that you have the right level of knowledge about these areas to be an effective teacher. And we'll try to update and refresh your knowledge in this area. We'll also look at the area of reflective practice. This is the important idea that teachers can learn from their own experiences of teaching. Thank you. Also in the first trimester, we will start right from the beginning to try and develop your research methods. This is so that when you carry out your final dissertation, these research methods will be well developed and you'll be able to carry out your research with confidence. So we'll be looking at some qualitative and quantitative methods and try to give you some real practical understanding of these research skills, carrying out interviews, observations, focus groups, and some other research methods as well. We'll also look at some ways of analyzing data and also finally about how to actually write your final dissertation report. Thank you. In the second trimester, we'll be here aiming at more advanced and practical topics. So this module, Approaches and Methods in ELT, is the practical module I mentioned earlier. This is where you'll actually be given an opportunity to do classroom teaching. So we will be looking at some methods, some well-known classroom methods. Also look at the idea of post methods that a contemporary teacher should be able to choose from a variety of methods in order to deliver their best lesson. We'll be looking at the idea of communicative teaching, the communicative approach, or communicative language teaching as an important principle of teaching. And as mentioned, we'll actually be doing real classroom teaching in teaching teams. Thank you. And this final taught module, Advanced Professional Issues, this is dealing with some important advanced areas that you will be ready for by the second trimester. Areas like English for specific purposes, testing and assessment, technology, and so on. So these will be topics, important topics that you will need to be a successful practitioner in the contemporary environment where these have become hot topics, if you like. Thank you very much. And finally, the dissertation. This is worth twice as much as a taught module. It's worth 60 credits, not 30. It's a fully supervised research project where you're assigned a supervisor and asked to carry out some original primary research. And we aim for our students to achieve the highest standards. Our external examiners often comment on the very high standard of some of our best dissertations. And we invite some of our students, the best students, to contend for a British Council dissertation prize in a competition. The goal of the dissertation, part of the goal of the dissertation, is to prepare you to be a teacher, researcher, and some of our students, in fact, quite a lot of our students, do go on to do later work. For example, many of them will do a PhD in the future, and this experience will help learners to develop their research skills. Thank you. So here's a general overview, if you like, of what we want the course to provide. And I'm just going to read this because this, if you like, condenses our message. The MA in TESOL enables you to become an independent, advanced professional leader, equipped with the theoretical knowledge and practical classroom experience needed to excel in research, program leadership, and teaching. Our graduates leave Hull with the skills and knowledge employers are looking for. The experience you gain in a real teaching environment is unusual, so you'll stand out against the competition in the job market. Thank you. So I will talk about this, and I may invite my colleague here, Callum, just to talk briefly. I'll have an attempt to talk briefly, but then I'll ask my colleague to step in. So in fact, maybe this is the best. Callum, would you like to talk through this? Or?
No problem. Can I just say thank you, Duncan, for that overview of the programme. It sounds so interesting, and I think what you said at the end then is so right, that this programme really does prepare students for the workplace. And I think everything that you've spoken about and everything that we do here at Hull always has employability at the heart of every endeavour. And what I will say actually is that we are seeing unprecedented demand for this programme. The growth of applications from international students year on year has been fantastic. So it's certainly becoming a lot more well-known, a lot more popular. And with that, of course, slightly more competitive perhaps as well. So one of the things that I wanted to speak about were the entry requirements to the programme. What I will say is that I know that it's getting late now. We've entered the summer period, and many people in the audience might be thinking about what they want to do in September 2023. But the big news is places remain for September 2022. So if you are coming to the end of your undergraduate programme in Japan or wherever you may be, and you're still looking for the right programme at the right university, then please do consider Hull and get in contact with colleagues at SI UK Japan to find out more about our programme and our application process. One of the reasons that I'm really emphasising this message is because we released some very exciting news this year, and that was because we have matched international postgraduate taught fees to our home fees. So for the entire programme of MA TESOL, international students like yourself will pay £8,950 for the full one-year programme, which is an absolutely fantastic offer. And we did this in response to the global financial challenges that many of us have faced over the past couple of years in response to the global pandemic. So we really believe in giving fantastic equal opportunities to the brightest minds like yourself. So if you would like to make the most of this equal fee policy, then do put in an application for this September. If you are looking to next year, then we haven't yet finalized our fees, but I'm confident that we're going to continue our approach to giving fair and affordable fees for our postgraduate international students. So let's go into a little bit more detail. In terms of English language requirements, for this program, you're required to have an Ielts 6.5 with no element less than 5.5. Now, we accept a variety of different English language certificates in addition to Ielts. So you can visit our website and there is a list of at least 50 other alternatives to Ielts. So if for some reason you're struggling to get an appointment at an Ielts centre, or you've tried an Ielts test before and you're not really keen on it, don't worry, we don't just insist on Ielts, there's many other options for you. For this program, we require you to have the equivalent of a lower second class bachelor honours degree. So we typically recognise Japanese bachelor degrees with a minimum of 65% as eligible for this program. That's really quite simple. Two key entry requirements there, English language and your academic background. However, we do ask you to submit a personal statement as part of your application. And I think many students, I think it's very important for students to realise that we do read personal statements. They form a very important part of your application. And I know that Duncan himself has been reading a couple of personal statements recently. So I wonder, Duncan, do you have 2 or 3 tips of how to make the best personal statement for an MA in TESOL, from your opinion?
Yes, you're absolutely right. The personal statements are becoming increasingly important. So the main thing is to indicate why you would like to carry out study in the area of TESOL. So even if your first degree is not in the area of TESOL, or maybe not even specifically in languages or education, this does happen. Some applicants do come from other backgrounds. In that case, it's particularly important that your personal statement explains why you are entering this area. So it's something increasingly that we're being required to look at. And actually, many of the applications are referred to me personally to check that the person will actually benefit from the program. So this is one of the things we want to make sure that when you come to us, when you join our program, you're likely to be carrying out study that is going to be useful to you in the future. That's very important. So please do indicate why TESOL language teaching is important to you and is going to be part of your future. It doesn't have to be, we're not massively interested in the quality of language. Of course, we want it to be well written, but I would like to hear what you have to say. So it doesn't have to be too polished. You don't need to get a friend or another person to come and check and polish up your language. As long as it's reasonably well written and I can understand what you have said, this to me is more important than the actual quality of the grammar and so on. Just make sure that it expresses your real thoughts and feelings. If you do have any experience, either as a language teacher or maybe as a learner, maybe that's developed some ideas, some thinking about the ideas of language teaching, express those in your statement. So just say briefly what you understand or what you would like to understand about this area.
You just highlighted something really important there as well, Duncan, in that we're not necessarily looking for candidates who are coming from a strictly language or teaching background. Year on year, we see applications, strong applications coming in from students from a variety of different backgrounds across different social sciences. So just to make clear, if you don't have a specific academic background in English language teaching or education, we still welcome your applications, as long as you can really articulate to us why you have an authentic interest in this area, then please do put in an application, okay? So What I'd like to do now is introduce you to Kuniko, who is one of our Japanese student ambassadors at the university. So, Kuniko, over to you.
Thank you. こんにちは、皆さん。春大学の今、AI データサイエンスの修士コースで勉強している東邦子と申します。よろしくお願いします。本日は私の、キャンパスでの生活だとか、休日はどのように過ごしているかなどのお話を少しシェアできればと思います。よろしくお願いします。Next slide, please. でまずはちょっと勉強について、ちょっとコースは違うのですが、ちょっと私の経験をお話ししたいと思います。まず、こちらの図が1学期から2学期の間に1週間でどんなことを実際にしているのかっていうのをまとめた図になります。で、私のコースはオンラインと実地の実習のハイブリッド形式になっていて、まずは1週間ごとにオンラインで講義が配信されてきます。で、その講義には木曜日と金曜日のラボで行われるワークショップの内容っていうのが説明されます。なので、まず講義を見てですね、で、予習としてワークショップまでにわからないことを調べたりだとか、質問事項をまとめたりとかしています。で、その後、次にワークショップに参加します。で、その中では、グループディスカッションだったりだとか、そういった会話形式の講義もあってですね、でさらには実際に AI やデータサイエンスで利用するモデルのプログラミングとかもしたりします。そういった実習をすることで、さらにテーマに対する理解を深めたりしていきます。で、このワークショップでは、そういった堅苦しいものとかではなくてですね、もう学生同士で教え合ったりとか、話し合ったりとか、ここどうなってるのって聞き合ったりだとか、で、さらにティーチングアシスタントの方とか、教授とかとの距離もすごく近くてですね、もしわかんないこととかあったら、もうちょっと気軽に呼んで聞けるような感じで、とってもそうですね、和気あいあいとした、和気あいあいというのかなっていうようなセッションになってます。で、私の場合はですね、このセッションを通して、現地の学生だったりだとか、他の国の留学生の方とかともよくお話しするようになって、勉強友達ができたりしました。で、その友達とよく一緒に1学期、2学期勉強したりしてました。で、このワークショップの終わった後は、オンラインによるサポートとかもあるので、ワークショップが終わったら終わりっていうのじゃなくて、常にフォローアップの体制とかはあって、そういったサポートを活用しながら復習して理解を深めていきます。で、またそれと同時に、学期の初めに発表される課題についてっていうのも進めていかないといけなくて、で、課題の提出は学期の終わりに設定されているものが多いので、計画的に進めていく必要があるかと思います。で、そして今3学期なんですが、3学期では、担当教員の方の指導のもとですね、プロジェクトとして研究を行っています。で、それを修士論文とプレゼンテーションとして作成しています。で、このプロジェクトは、1学期、2学期と少しずつ内容が深くなっていって、その集大成なので、大変ではあるんですが、やりがいがあって、はい、面白いです。Next slide, please. 次に生活についてです。私今寮に住んでまして、私の住んでるウエストフィールドコートっていうのはまだできたばかりの新しくてとても綺麗です。で、写真が実際の私の部屋です。で、今も部屋から参加しています。で、私は海外旅行はしたことあったんですけど、海外で暮らすっていうのは初めてでした。なので、ガス、電気、水道、インターネット、 全てがもう全部使える状態で、自分で手続きしなくていいっていうのは、もう本当にありがたかったです。で、慣れている方であれば大丈夫だと思うんですけど、全部一人で一からとなると大変で、おそらく、スムーズにスタートできなかったんじゃないかなと思ってます。で、またなんか困ったことがあれば、24時間空いてる寮の受付で、対応してもらえるので、ちょっと受付に行ってすぐお話しするっていうこともできるので、とっても便利です。で、イギリスで生活していて、怖いと感じたこともなく、全体的に治安もいいなと思うんですけど、寮の敷地にあるので、なんとなくなんですけど、さらに暮らしていて安心で、安全だなっていう気がします。で、ジムとか食堂とか、比較的安くて美味しい食堂とかも近いので、暮らしやすいと思います。そしてラボとかレクチャールーム、図書館とかも近いですし、学生として生活するにはとてもいいんじゃないかなと思います。Next slide, please. で、こちらの写真はキャンパスの一部です。で、学校内緑がとっても多くてですね、とっても綺麗です。で、すごいモダンな校舎とかもあるのですが、この写真のようにですね、私がイメージしていたイギリスの建物っていう感じの校舎もあって、で、春とかは日差しが暖かくなってきたので、ウォーキングアプリをインストールして、友達と校内をウォーキングしたりとかもしてました。結構随所で観光地みたいな綺麗な景色を楽しむことができるので、それもいいのかなと思います。最近はちょっとこちらもだいぶ暖かくなってきて、半袖で過ごせるようになり、ちょっと日中のウォーキングはあまりしてないですが、はい、とっても景色が良くて、キャンパス内も、でも楽しめると思います。Next slide, please. で、最後に週末や休暇についてなんですが、こちらとても自然が豊かで、近くのちょっとした公園とかでも、湖や池とかがあって、いろんな鳥がいたりとかして、すごい空気もよく楽しめる感じです。で、春大聖堂やリンカーン大聖堂、あと、春市の有名な観光地の一つの、ディープ水族館にも行ってみました。で、こちらもすごい、はい、見応えがあって楽しかったです。で、また、ヨークシャ内の、リプレイ場とかにも行ったりと、週末も、勉強の合間を縫って、楽しんでます。で、シティセンターには大きなショッピングモールもあって、大学からだいたい10分か15分ぐらいで行くことができるので、通常のショッピングとかも楽しむことができます。で、以上が少しですが大学での勉強や生活、休暇中の話でした。で、私が今春大学での生活で思うのは、学ぶのにとっても良い環境が整っているなと思います。なので、不安や心配っていうのはあんまり感じたことがなくて、で、大学のスタッフの方や教授の方との距離もすごく近いので、必要な時は必要なサポートっていうのが、しっかり受けれるので、選んでよかったなと思ってます。はい、以上です。ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。Thank you so much. それではですね、早速少し質問いただいておりますので、Q&A セッションに入りたいと思います。Student C さん、ご質問ありがとうございます。邦子さんに質問です。なぜ春大学を選んだか教えていただきたいです。This is a question for 邦子さん。Why did you choose University of Hull?
そうですね。イギリスに旅行に来たときにですね、 ノースエリアを見たときには本当に綺麗だなと思ってですね。で、それで、それがきっかけでイギリスの大学に行きたいなって思ったので、その時にこの春大学の環境を見て、とっても、いい環境だなって思ったのと、私の場合は、1年間のそのコンバージョンコースっていうコースで、結構その専門的な AI とデータサイエンスっていう学科だったんですけど、幅広く受け入れてくれるっていうところで、基礎も少し入って、だんだんそのマスターちゃんと卒業するレベルになっていくっていう、大変ではあるんですが、はい、そういった段階立てて学んでいけるっていうコースだったので、もともとがその AI データサイエンスの大学の専攻ではなかったのですが、はい、はい、受け入れてもらえるっていうところで選んだ感じです。
ありがとうございます。そのようなコンバージョンコースっていうのは、春大学にしかなかったんですか？やっぱりコース、いいコースがあるからっていうのが一番の理由っていうところだったんですか？
そうですね。最終的には一番の理由はそのコースの内容だと思います。で、あとそのセッションだったりにも参加したりだとかで、はい。こういったイベントとかにも参加して、はい。いいなと思いました。
はい。ありがとうございます。はい、Dr. Hunter.
Hi, can I just a quick comment? It's an important message, I think, from the university for the coming year is that we are trying to move away from a lot of online teaching to face-to-face teaching. So in previous years, obviously during the year before last, we had to teach online. And this last year, we've had some online and some face-to-face teaching. But in the coming year, we think it's very important to build up the university students' experience and the community of learning in the classroom. So we will be having face-to-face teaching as our main mode of learning. I just thought I'd like to make that clear. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, another question. Thank you so much, student D. I just graduated from a Japanese university last March, and I am teaching English to Japanese students part-time at a cram school. Am I still eligible to apply for TESOL even if I don't have full-time teaching experience?
Yes, you can. Sorry, can I just check? What's your first degree about? What's the subject or topic? Does the student mention? I'm sorry, I missed that.
スチューデント D さんの大学の時に学んだ、科目を教えて、もし差し支えなければ教えていただけますか？ですね、バックグラウンドですね。
Yes, linguistics. So that sounds fine. Yes, definitely. Of course, please do indicate in your personal statement, which Callum mentioned earlier, why you would like to look at TESOL. But if you have a relevant first degree, and if you're generally interested in doing teaching, many of our student teachers, many of our students are from a non-teaching background. So, of course, your application's welcome.
ありがとうございます。全然大丈夫ということですので、先ほどもパーソナルステートメントがとても大切ですよっていう話があったと思うんですけれども、丁寧にそのエクスペリエンスをパーソナルステートメントに含めて作って出願してくださいということですので、ぜひ挑戦してみてください。その他皆さんご質問ありましたら、あと15分ほどお時間ありますので、ぜひ日本語でも英語でもどちらでも結構ですので、チャットボックスからお知らせください。TESOL コースに関してのことでも結構ですし、春大学全体のことでも大丈夫です。クニコニさんに対しての日本語での質問とかでも受け付けておりますので。私からクニコさんに質問なんですけど、よく生徒さんから どういうそのスケジュールを共有していただいたんですけれども、やっぱり1年間で修士号を取るっていうことは、ものすごく大変なんじゃないかと言って、もう出願の前から結構ビビってるというか、心配されてる方はすごくいらっしゃるんですね。で、やっぱり睡眠時間とかってどれぐらい確保されてますか？
結構寝てますよ。6時間、7時間は寝ていて、私もすごく、大丈夫かなって心配だったんですけど、来てみたら、なんとなく、友達とかもできて、なんとなくサポートも受けながら、進めていくことができていっているので、はい。
あ、そうなんですね。
なんとかなります。
結構もう徹夜で毎日2時間3時間とかそういうわけではないですよということですよね。
ないですね。なんかちょっと課題とかを貯めてしまうとそうなるかもしれないですけど、しっかりちゃんと寝る時間も食べる時間も確保して、はい。ただ毎日やっぱりちゃんと勉強しないといけないですけど。
確かにそうですね。やっぱり勉強するのはもう基本勉強するっていうのが必要ではありますよね。でもそんな2時間3時間の睡眠とかじゃないということで皆さん安心ですね。ありがとうございます。皆さん他にもせっかくアンバサダーの方が来てますので気になっていることとかあったらぜひ聞いてみてくださいね。Another question from student C. Thank you so much. I have been teaching English at a public high school for 4 years. My major was sociology at university. I would like to improve my English teaching skills. Is it okay for me to apply for this course at Howe University? I am planning to enter the university from September 2023.
Yes, definitely. This sounds like a very interesting application. So particularly if you have public school teaching experience, that's very important. And to some extent, the subject of your first degree is not the most important thing. So the fact that you have already developed some experience as a teacher is very important. And we'd be very interested in hearing from you.
大歓迎ということですね。やっぱり実際のティーチングエクスペリエンスがある場合は、過去に大学のバックグラウンドが何であるかっていうよりかは、その経験の方を重視してくれるというようですので、ぜひ2023年9月だったらもうこの秋に出願が始まりますので、今から書類を準備して秋に出願するっていう流れになりますね。はい、その他に質問がある方、どうぞ。So I have a question for Callum. When are you going to start accepting application for 2023 this year? This year you are accepting October or November?
So we will open applications for September 2023 intake in this September. We actually have a lot of students already saying we'd love to apply for September 2023, but we're busy at the moment finalizing our inbound cohort for this year. But from September, students can apply. And I've got a piece of really, I hope it's valuable, but very, very honest advice as well. Here at the University of Hull, we are experiencing such high demand for our programs for a number of reasons. Our fantastic fees policy, of course, has caught the attention of many students, but we've celebrated some fantastic success in rankings recently. So the name of Hull is definitely spreading, which means that we're seeing more and more students applying to us. We did actually have to close a number of our master's courses quite early this year. So I would honestly say, as soon as our application rounds open in September, put in an application as soon as you can. And of course, you don't need all of your final documents at the point of application. You can make an application without your Ielts certificate, for example, and that can then be uploaded at a later date. But the key is to get your application in. So from September, if you're looking for a 2023 intake, don't delay. get it in as soon as you can. If you want any advice, please do speak to our colleagues at SI UK Japan, who will be very, very happy to help you. Is that okay?
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
2023年9月の2023年9月に入学したいっていうことでしたら、今年の2022年の9月に出願が始まるっていうことです。いつも1年前の秋に始まりますよっていう案内をしますけれども、大学によっては10月だったり11月だったり様々なんですね。で、春大学の場合は9月から、September から始まるっていうことで、やっぱり早く応募しないと、締め切ってしまうことっていうのも人気のコースに関してはありますので、できるだけ早く Ielts スコアレポート以外の書類が揃い次第、すぐに出願をしてくださいっていうアドバイスでした。なんか9月だったらもうあと3ヶ月もない感じですよね。なんか3ヶ月ぐらいで書類を準備できるように頑張ってしていきましょう。この他皆さんご質問があれば、英語でも日本語でもどちらでも結構ですので、チャットボックスからお知らせくださいね。今、春大学邦子さんもう、オンラインのコースからもうフェイストゥフェイスにかなり移行してるっていう話だったんですけど、オンラインコースはもう一切ない感じですか？
今私は3学期がもうディサテーションの時期になっているので、なんというかそのオンラインの講義っていうのは今はなくて、そのプロジェクトを集中的にやってる感じですね。で、その時に、担当教員の方と毎週お話ししてっていう感じなので、それはオンラインだったり現地であったりだとかですね、様々です。
結構本コース中はどうでしたか？ターム1とかターム2の時、セメスター1とか2。
そうですね。私の時は私のコースは半分ぐらいですね。2日間、週の2日間が現地で、その他はオンラインでっていう形でした。ただなんか先生とかってこの時間は空いてるよっていう時間を教えてくれるので、その時間にその先生を訪ねたりってすることも可能ですし、
ですよね。先ほどもお話しあったみたいに、春大学のそのいい特徴っていうのが、結構先生と生徒の距離がすごい近い大学であるように感じました。
そうですね。結構そのオンラインって言ってもTeams を使って先生とコミュニケーションが取れたりだとか、普通にそのラボのそのワークショップだけじゃなくても、友達同士でも気軽に集まったりだとか、そのTeamsの中でも集まったり、先生も混ざっているチームのグループがあったりとかで、先生も気軽に答えてくれる感じ。
それはかなり長所ですよね。やっぱり大学によっては先生と生徒さんの距離が遠いところもある中で、春大学はすごく近いから、結構なんというかアットホームな雰囲気があるっていうことですよね。
そうですね。
ありがとうございます。邦子さんにもう一つ質問。ありがとうございます。スチューデント C さん、ありがとうございます。邦子さんに質問です。何月頃出願されて、結果はいつ発表されましたか？また、Ielts が 6.0 なのですが、6.5 に届かなかった場合は、プレスクールなどありますか？この後半の Ielts のスコアが足りなかったときは、多分プレセッショナルコースっていうののことだと思うので、これは後でカラムさんに聞きましょう。邦子さん、何月頃出願されて、結果はいつ頃発表されましたか？
そうですね。私は12月の中旬ぐらいに出願をして、1月の終わりぐらいだったと思います。
ですね。またこれもコースによって少し違うこともあるんですけれどもね。
でもクリスマス休みを挟んでるので、かなり早く オファーをもらえ、結果をもらえたんじゃないかなと思ってます。
ですね。早く出さないことには結果も出ないですから、やっぱりなるべく早く出してしまうというところがポイントになりますね。
そうですね。
ありがとうございます。
はい。
じゃあ、last question for Karam. Karam, student, its IELTS is currently 6.0. If she cannot reach to 6.5, do you offer pre-sessional course?
Absolutely. So this year we have offered a number of online pre-sessional courses designed to bring people up to IELTS 6.5. Next year we're still finalizing our offering, but I would predict that we'll be offering a variety of different pre-sessional courses, perhaps some online, but hoping to return to our on-campus pre-sessional courses. Because of course, being here on the campus with other students, with teachers in the UK is the best environment, I would say, to improve your English language skills. So yes, absolutely. We offer a variety of pre-sessional English language courses, as well at the moment as some free courses before your teaching starts. We call it Bridging the Gap. So we offer some free courses to our new international students to help them acclimatise and to become more familiar with academic culture. Also some of the more social aspects of university life in the 2 weeks before the teaching starts. That's a really good way of settling into life at the university. My only other comment, of course, is that if you're struggling to reach IELTS 6.5, just either drop us an email, take a look at our website. You're not limited to IELTS. There are many, many more English language qualifications that we accept in addition to IELTS. So there's lots of different options for you.
Thank you. When are you expecting to finalize the information for pre-sessional course for next year?
I would say soon after September. So,
right.
So we need to complete these programs now over summer, help these students in, and then have a look. We always like to review our activity, get student feedback, see if there's anything that we can improve, and then we'll launch an even better product soon after.
Okay, thank you. そうですね、スチューデント C さん、6.0 なんですが、6.5 に届かなかった場合は、プレセッショナルコースっていうのが、春大学でも用意されているので、そちらにアプライするといいです。Ielts 以外にも、その他にも、いろんなクオリフィケーションをアクセプトしてますよっていうことなので、もし Ielts が苦手っていうことでしたら、違うテストを受けてみるっていうのも手ですよっていうふうに今アドバイスいただきました。で、プレセッショナルコースをアプライするためには、オファーを持ってないとダメなんですね。なので、まず、TESOL だったら TESOL のオファーをまずもらうために出願を、先決先に優先していただいて、で、オファーをもらってからプレセッショナルコースをまた別途アプライっていう形になります。で、プレセッショナルの情報っていうのは、今は今年の分しか出てないので、来年の分っていうのは、この9月以降に発表されるっていうことですので、9月以降にまた発表されたら、詳細を確認してみてください。その他大丈夫ですかね。Thank you so much everyone for so many good questions. We are running out of time. Thank you everybody. Thank you, Dr. Hunter. Thank you, Karam.
Thank you,
Kuniko-san. Thank you everybody for joining this seminar. Bye for now. Thank you. ありがとうございました。
Thank you.
Goodbye. Bye-bye.
ありがとうございます。
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.